Okay, so we're back. We seem to have grabbed a hold of Rhymatic Poet as he had a bit of issues with the internet. So, to continue with our interview, okay, because we had left off at an interesting part. Okay, so you were talking about when you started poetry, and you explained a bit of what transpired, what happened, and what used to happen, and all that. So, just to ask, what was the inspiration behind you doing poetry? Out of all the things, what was the inspiration behind you doing poetry?
Okay, the inspiration behind me doing poetry is that as I'm moving out there in the streets, as I'm moving out there, maybe I'm at church, I'm at school, and just on social media, when I look at how people are living and how people are suffering out there, it really drags my heart towards helping. But I ask myself one question: how am I going to help these people if I'm not financially stable? How am I going to help these people if
Mhm.
I don't really have what it really takes to help? It brings me back to poetry. If
Yes.
I'm able to speak for those people through poetry, if I'm able to be an advocate for those people through my poetry, if I can be able to voice out for those
Yes.
people through my poetry, those people can really find a helping hand out there. So that is what led me to be doing poetry. I want to make an impact. I want to change people's lives. Maybe share the good news. Maybe through my poetry, someone can even find a message to repent and get back
Mhm.
to Christ. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So I've heard you bring the point of Christ. So is your poems, are they based on Christianity, or are they also part of what the world is and how the world is as at now?
Okay. Um, Not really that my poems are based on Christianity. I'm not really categorized. I do poetry according to
Okay.
the environment I am in. I do poetry to suit the environment or the situation which I face. So let's say if I notice any social challenges that people are going through, I'm going to do a poem to cater for those social challenges. If I notice
Yes.
a rape, I'm going to do a poem to cater for rape. But my two many categories are uh, Christian poems and activism. In these two, I'm really focused in this. I only cater for these other categories if I only see a need for catering in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Okay. So ever since you started poetry, if let me bring this out. Whenever someone starts something, there are always a challenge, there's hiccups, and there are always people that don't believe. There are always people that bring you down. There are always people that say you can't do this, you don't suit, and all that. Have you ever faced such challenges with starting your whole career as a poet?
Yeah. Being a poet is not something that is easy. And in your journey, you'll find people who want to draw you back saying, if you can't do this, you can't manage. I've been found
Yes.
to worse way that these things are for white people, you understand. So there are
Yes.
always
Yes.
people who say that no, if you want to join such an industry, just join the music industry because it's easy out there. Though
Mhm.
you see how crowded the music industry is right now. But
Yes.
all through what the critic we face critics and there are a lot of things that people tell us, but
Hmm.
above all, we still stand strong to say that, okay, if that one did it, I can also do it. If that one was able to achieve their goal just because they followed their dream, just because they followed what they really wanted to do, just because they followed what their heart was looking for, they managed to do it. I can also do it if I only follow my heart's desire. If only the content of my heart is what I'm looking for and is what I'm doing, I can also pull through all these critics and be able to do it. I can attest that since I started my poetry, I'm not at the same level I was 3 years ago. Things have moved, things have
Okay.
changed in my
That's
career. Yeah, things have moved. They are not the same with how they were 3 years back.
okay. That's very good. It's actually a good way of tackling with issues regarding obstacles and you're moving on with your career, you know. So, despite combating these careers, how many successes have you had? How many achievements have you had that you can greatly celebrate and say, I've achieved this and this? You spoke of changing someone's life with your piece, like your poetry. How many people have do you feel you might have impacted that you even to say, okay, yes, I have impacted them with my work.
Okay, on that one, I can't really estimate that. No, maybe I've impacted on such a wide range of people. But what I can say is that I'm receiving messages both in my personal account and my Facebook page, where people are saying, "Okay, I
Mhm.
really liked your piece. I was crying, but after listening to this piece, I can tell you to say that you've really done something for me. Please, can you be sending me more of your poems? Maybe they can continue changing something in my life." And there are also people whereby when you meet them, they will ask you, "Oh, are you the one who did that poem? I think I saw a picture like this and that." They explain to you, and then you're like, "Okay, yes, I'm
Yes.
the one who did it." And they're okay. Ever since I started listening to your poems, I can say that there are things that I wanted to there are some things which wanted me to part the ways of life and start doing some
Mhm.
things out of the eyes of the Lord. But because of
Yes.
listening to your pieces, I can attest that okay, these things have really helped me get back to my feet and continue with the work of God. I think that's all I can say about
Uh-huh.
that.
Okay, that's quite good. I mean, that's one of the great achievements, if I may say, for people to actually recognize to say your work is changing their lives and making a difference in their lives. I think that's actually good. Like, congratulations for that, and high five for that. You know. So let's come to the part of how many poems do you have so far ever since you started doing your poetry? And then on top of that, out of the many poems that you have, how many would you say these ones are the best poems that I did?
Okay. Um, from the time I started writing poetry, I can say I have over 50 written pieces. Then
Mhm.
I have about 6 recorded pieces, and then
Yes.
I have one video, and the other video
Okay.
is on its way. It's likely to premiere next week, as we are still making arrangements for the video shooting and everything. So,
Okay.
out of all the poems I have, and all the poems I've recorded, I can say that one of one of one of my favorite poems. In short, let me say the best poem is the one which is titled "Have Respect for Your Mother," because that one really not
Okay.
only speaks to people out there, but it also still speaks to me. And the second
Okay.
favorite is the my current project, which is the internet over the youths. Yeah,
Okay. Internet. Okay. So I do remember you sent us a video. Unfortunately, due to the issues of network and the software issues, we weren't and weren't unable to actually show it. But it's quite a nice video. The title, if I'm not mistaken, it's something about a virgin. Correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah. The title is "Scars of
Um,
a Virgin."
yes, Scars of a Virgin. So
Yeah,
why
scars.
that title? How did it come about, Scars of a Virgin? And what is the poem about the title, which is Scars of a Virgin?
Okay. I remember back in school when I was about to write my final exam, my grade 12 final exam. I was working on a
Mhm.
project titled "Help Children to Be Children," and in
Okay.
that poem, in that project, it will be in parts. Let's say part one, part two, part three, until whatsoever it will end. So as I was still writing that piece, I came across a
Mhm.
part where I wrote something like, "Walking in the streets of Kapirimposhi, I met a girl being
Okay.
raped. I rushed to her aid, but it was too late, for I already found that she has been bruised and harassed."
Okay.
So after coming across what I wrote, I sat down and thought, okay, what if I was to write a poem about this same part which I've written in this piece? before this project
Mm-hmm.
is really complete, I think I should write something about this. That's how I sat down. At first, when I was writing that poem with the video I sent you, it never had the title. So I just wrote it like
Okay.
that. And then when I went to my videographer, we did a live session. That was a live session, by the way. He shot the
Mm-hmm.
video, just one shot, and everything was done. And then he asked me, "What is it you would want this poem to be the title?" I said, "Okay, I haven't come with the title, but according to the poem itself and according to what's being spoken about, I think it can be best if we were to say the scars of a virgin." So that's how I
Oh,
came up with that piece.
question, if I may say, Scars of the Virgin, because it was a bit intriguing, like when we watched it. It's a short video, but it has got a good sense in it, like
Yeah.
it has got a deep message in it, and I was just like, oh wow, you know. The only problem is that it's short. I wish it was a bit long, for people to just get the actual message, I wish there was that part. So specifically for this piece, Scars of the Virgin, if someone were to interesting as it is for a title, if someone were to want like to view it and hear it, like just listen to it, where can they find it?
If they were to view it, they can look me up on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is
Okay.
the Rhymatic Poet. And if they search for that, they'll find my brand logo there as the YouTube profile photo. And once they scroll down the video is there. It's available.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So apart from that, in, places have you so far had the opportunity to perform your pieces? How many places have you had that opportunity?
I can't lie. I've never been invited to any event to go and perform my pieces. I've
Okay.
just been I record, I shoot a video if there is any need of a video, and then I upload on my Facebook page and on my YouTube. The only time I can say I had a chance to perform was back in school because I was the head boy in school.
Okay.
So as we were still waiting for the teachers
Okay.
to come and address us in the assembly, the pupils were like, "Oh, we heard that the head boy does poetry," and then they were like, everyone was like, "Okay, give us one piece," and I just gave them a brief piece I wrote by that time. It was my current project as well by then, so that's the piece I gave them. It's also short, but they seemed to have liked it, and people were like, "So tuza ti ndwe celebrity out there mu school tubakuonelamo tukuona mukyamba head boys bakitika, it didn't tell us that we're celebrity panja panja." So I was like,
Yeah.
there's no problem, there's no need of me to tell you. Instead, you have to find out for yourself. As the saying,
Exactly.
work in silence, let your success make noise for you. That's what I just told them. So that's the only time I can say I got a chance to at least perform my pieces out there. And that piece is titled Dear Youth. um
Dear Ruth.
yeah, yeah, Dear Youth.
Okay. 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 So, I wanted to find out, are you being managed by someone or you are still independent? Like you do your own stuff, you write your own things, and you project your own things. Or maybe you are being managed, or someone helps you write your pieces.
Okay, so I can say this month I had to write a proposal, and after writing a proposal, there is someone here. He is a photographer, videographer, and he does all kinds of shoots, my weddings, chirangamulilo, kitchen parties. So I wrote him a proposal and he agreed. So I can say that I'm being managed um with my poetry by Maps Creative Photography. If you have ever heard if you have ever heard of it, or maybe found it on Facebook or anywhere, it's Maps Creative Photography. That's the person who's currently managing me, and I look forward to that he'll continue managing me till the time we part ways when life wills.
I got that correct. That's Max Creative Photography.
Maps, like maps, MAPS, Maps Creative Photography.
Oh, okay. So currently this is the one managing you. Okay, that's awesome. So have you ever done a piece with anyone? Like, do you always do them alone, or have you ever had an opportunity to do it with someone, be a friend, a colleague, or anyone else?
I've been doing my own pieces alone, and I'm working on a project which I want to do with a certain poet. She's from Lusaka. I'm sure you've heard of her. Her name is Bumba. It's Bumba the poet. She's the one who did the poem The Future is Female, I'm a Vital She, and some other pieces. So she's really good as well in her poetry. And I'm looking forward
Okay.
to doing a piece with her. We've already started communicating, and once I get a chance to be with her in Lusaka, I think that's the time we're going to have that piece written up, because I do believe that when you're doing a duet, it's not convenient to write it when you are miles apart. It's better you are together. Even as you are writing that duet, you write something that will spread a message. They are not just writing because you want to write and say, no, I did a poem with this poet, I did this with that. It doesn't make sense whereby you do something with a big name and then it doesn't come out as people expect.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
apart from that, who among in the poetry industry, who do you look up to? The poetry industry, definitely for in the music industry, I would say maybe a musician looks up to maybe Bobbyist, Sabi, and all that. So in the poetry sector, who do you look up to? Be it in Zambia, international, anywhere, who do you look up to?
As for me, I look up to, I think you might know him. His name is Richard Williams, and his stage name is Prince
Richard
EA.
Williams.
Prince EA is his
Okay.
stage name. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so
I've actually done it.
I've been looking up to him since the time I started poetry, and after looking more into his details, his biography, I found out to say that I don't know if it's a coincidence, but we have matching birthdays. So I think, yeah, it should be a coincidence.
Oh,
Yeah. So he's the person I've been looking up to with my poetry.
that's
And if someone was to look at the poetry I'm doing right now, they can really say, okay, I've been really looking up to this person because I'm now doing the kind of
yes.
poetry it does, as if you are communicating, as if it's a dialogue, as if you're writing a dialogue like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you actually that's actually quite good, if I may say. I don't know, is it good, but quite exciting. You know, the fact that you're sharing a birthday with someone that you look up to. That's actually something that many would die for. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if in Zambia, coming to locally, who do you wish amongst the big poetic guys or people in the poetic industry? Who do you think you would really want, or who do you wish to have a duo session with them to do a poet or a piece together with them? Who do you wish to have that opportunity with?
Okay, in Zambia, I really don't want to do a piece with the big names as at now, but I'm really looking forward to doing a piece with Bumba, as I said, and the person I've really been anticipating to meet and do a poem with ever since I knew him is Kudos. Kudos the poet.
Kudos. Okay.
Yes, Kudos the
Okay.
poet.
Okay. I was actually expecting that you say Genesis. You know, Genesis or these top guys that are there, like Messenger, wouldn't you want an opportunity with them as far as poetry is happening?
Okay, you see, when an opportunity comes, I'll grab it. Just when an opportunity comes, I'll really grab it. But looking at um looking at the my current situation, looking at the level I've reached, I think it's better I start with the people we can start together, so that even as we are growing, we grow together, so that we can, as even
Yeah.
as we go to meet those top names, as you said, in the Messenger and in the Genesis, we can be able to produce something nice. And if you recall, I said it's not good whereby you do a piece with a big name and then it doesn't come out as people
Yeah,
expect it to. Yeah, so I'd better start with Vumba and Kudos the poet. I think that can be okay for
I
now
see. I see.
as we try to go for
Mm-hmm.
greater names. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we're just remaining with a few minutes to our interview, but I want first to just find out a few things. Um,
Okay.
Number one is where do you see yourself 5 years from now in the poetic industry?
Okay. Okay. I didn't think I would be saying this, but as we started 2022, there are some goals I set for 2022, and I've already started achieving those goals. I set five
Yes.
major goals for 2022. The first goal was to
Okay.
get an interview, of which I am getting an interview right now. I'm being interviewed, so I can tick I've really
Okay.
gotten an interview, and I'm looking
Yes.
forward to more interviews. Then the second goal is for me to attain 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel and 4,000 watch hour time within the space of 11 months. The 11 months we're remaining with, which is just for this 2022.
Wow, that's
Then
that's
the
that's
other goal,
big. That's actually big, you know.
yeah, sure. Then the other goal is
Okay.
I have to work on my Facebook page as well. The third goal for 2022 is for me to have at least 50,000 followers on Facebook. I know I can't manage to do that, but if I
Okay.
continue working hard and I continue making an impact out there, people can really help me attain this goal of reaching 50,000 followers on my Facebook. Then the other goal is that before
Okay.
this year ends, should be able to monetize my videos. I should be able to monetize my videos on my YouTube channel and across all social media platforms that can be used for monetization. Then the fifth goal, my fifth goal is to really make a very big impact in this 2022 with my work and meet new people and big names that maybe we can do a piece together and share a message out there.
That's good. That's actually a perfect outline of goals, if I may say, for 2022. And so far, how has it been? How so far out of five goals? How many have you achieved, and how many are you still waiting to be achieved?
I can say that within a space of 22 days in 2022, I've achieved one goal, which is being able to be
Okay.
interviewed, being able to feature on an interview. And I can't lie, you are the
Okay.
first person to interview me, not only in 2022, but in my entire career life. And then I can say I'm
Okay.
remaining with 341 days, 341 days to achieve my other set goals.
The other goals.
Yeah, the other goals.
No, we actually wish you well. It actually starts bit by bit because I'm sure this is not the last time we'll be hosting you on our show. We're praying that the next interview that we'll be doing will be a physical one. I will be able to come to you and actually interview you. Despite you being far away, that's why we get an online interview. But anyway, it's still good. So we still wish for more of the goals that you have set out to be achieved. Okay. So
I also
coming to
wish
my other
to,
question before, yes.
you can proceed.
Okay. So coming to the other questions before we close. 5 years from now, how do you see Zambia? As it is now, 5 years from now, how do you see Zambia?
Okay, if I was to project how I see Zambia in the next 5 years, I can say if we continue moving at the pace that we are moving on as a country, I can assure you we are still not going to to be able to develop Zambia in the next 5 years. But if we as individuals, as the citizens of Zambia, as you can say, I'm even wearing a Zambian jersey. So as the citizens of Zambia, if we were to
Yes.
change our mindsets, and focus on being able to do our own things without being dependent on anyone else, I can assure you the next 5 years won't just be years to remember, but there will be the years that we as this generation will write history for our great nation, Zambia. If we were to change our mindsets and stop being dependent on others, in short, if we were to change our mindsets and stop being dependent on the government for it to provide everything for us, we're going to rewrite
Yes,
history.
that's
We're
uh,
going to
that's
rewrite
that's well
history.
said. Yeah, that's well said. I mean, if you want a poet should have been a politician, if I may say. So, my last question: poet, what would you be in the big industry? What would you be? Apart from the basketball that you mentioned, what would you be?
Okay, I last week Saturday, my young sister asked me the same question as we were coming back from the studio to from when we were recording the poem, the internet over the youth. She said, "Why don't you just go to college to go and study poetry?" And then I asked her, even if I went to college to go and study poetry, who's going to employ me for writing poems in their company? Who's going to employ me for
Exactly.
writing speeches for them in their company? Poetry to me is just a side hustle. Apart from being a passion, poetry I consider poetry to be a side hustle to me because through poetry
Yes.
I'll be able to make a living. Through poetry I'll be able to
Yes.
change lives out there. So from I think from the third grade as well until now, I've never changed my career goal. I really want to join the aviation industry. So
Okay.
just waiting upon the results. When the results come out as I expect, I can assure you to say that in the next 7, 8 years from now, I'm seeing myself up there in the aviation industry. Yeah,
That's actually good. Yeah, that's actually. But despite you being in the aviation industry, please don't stop poetry because, like you said at first, if it changes someone's mind, if it changes someone's perception of what life is, don't change it. Okay, don't change it.
I can't change poetry. Okay,
So
as I said, apart from being a passion, it's a side hustle, and
yes,
poetry is life to me. Poetry is life to me
that's good.
because I consider
That's
poetry
good.
to be an art, and once I master an art, it's hard to let go of an art which I consider to be life to me. I can't stop doing poetry. Yeah, we
That's
will only
actually
part
good.
ways
That's
like
good.
that.
That's good. Okay,
Yeah.
so in 2 minutes, I'll give you an opportunity to recite a very good poem that you kept, that you felt like the first day I'll have an interview, I'm going to recite this piece within 2 minutes, and it starts now.
Okay, so since we are talking to the youth out there, I think I will recite the poem I said I recited when I was asked to in school. So the title
Okay.
is the poem is entitled Dear Youth. So the
Dear
poem is,
youth.
yeah. Dear youth, open your mouth, mount, propagate, interrogate, investigate, and compose before you propose. Don't just think out loud, louder than ever before. Don't just speak, but voice out. Never let your rights be violated because you're not related, cooperated, or because you're intimidated or irritated. Let your voice out. Remember, your voice is your right, and only your right will be there to set you free. The Rhymatic Poet. So it's just short. I'm done.
That's good. That's good. I was actually, my network is a bit down, so the time that you went down for me, you were still speaking aside. But that's very good. That's very good. So, just
Okay.
lastly, because I've noticed three-quarters of your poems are a bit short, despite one that we saw that was a bit long. So, is it just like a trend that you do short poems, or maybe there's just something behind that?
The secret behind me doing short poems is that there are times when I'm bored, there are times when I'm working on a very big project, and then instead of me just wasting my spare time to doing other things, it's better I get a pen and
Mm.
paper and then just write a short poem so that I can be able to refresh my mind as I go back to doing the major project I'm doing. If I can tell you, I have poems which range from 3 to 4 minutes, which have 2 minutes 30 seconds, and I'm I I'm currently working on a Christian poem which is about 5 minutes long. So I don't just write short poems; those poems are just there to help me refresh my mind as I go back to those long projects.
I see. I see. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's very good. But next time we have an interview, we're just going to be one. We'll be able to make one of your videos and to show the world out there who Rhymatic Poet is and what he's all about. So thank you very much for coming through, and thank you very much for having time for us to host you on the show and interact with you to get to know more about Rhymatic Poet, to get to know what Rhymatic Poet, who Rhymatic Poet is all about, and where Rhymatic Poet was, if I say, is getting inspiration from in terms of writing his poems. So this has been your host Katongo, and this has been Ubuntu Lifestyle. We hope to catch you next time, and we hope that you may have time to join us once again as we'll be interacting yet again with another person. If I may say, I don't want to say celebrity, a person on the next show. So from me, Katongo, and from Rhymatic Poet, this is bye for now, and stay glued to Ubuntu TV. Thank you.
thank you very much, all of yours.